Well, in the sense that most people use it, which is you are trying to remove toxins from your body.
Yeah. Okay.
That is not a thing. If you're saying detox, like you're just removing bad stuff from your life so that your body runs better, that I could see, but that's never what they mean. It's always like drink cayenne pepper and use this juice cleanse to remove toxins from your body.
Flush
Shut
poisons.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Last Call podcast. My name is Mikey T. I'm joined as always by Tristan.
Hello.
We are back finally because I nearly died.
They don't know. We had a backup episode. They didn't know we were gone.
Just kidding. We're still here.
We had one in the hopper.
LastCallPodcast.com, YouTube.com/MikeyTVersus. Check out the audio and everything. iTunes, Google, all that good shit.
Welcome back. Hello, everyone. You almost died. Let's talk about that first, because I'm super curious about that. Ocean City almost killed you.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, who hasn't been there? Yeah. So it started off. We thought it was like a dehydration thing, because basically I drink a lot of water normally, just like trying to stay healthy and all that shit. That day I did not.
Hot day at the beach, alcohol.
Yeah,
you know.
And then the only thing I'd eaten that day were crabs. So,
so you might as well not have eaten it all.
Yeah. So combine all these things together after a night of hard drinking, as we do. I woke up in the morning and I couldn't move.
Really?
It was to the point, like, I kept describing it to people where, have you ever, like, slept on a limb?
Yeah.
And then you get up and that limb, like, can't hold weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my whole body.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
I would want to be at the hospital, like, immediately. Did you go to the hospital immediately?
No, because...
fucking course you didn't. Why would you? It's just your body not functioning.
Who needs it? I got another one. I don't know. But I must have scared the shit out of Christina.
So you wake up and you're basically paralyzed.
Yes.
And the conversation goes, babe, I'm basically paralyzed.
I said, I need help. And like flopped out of the bed and like crawled over. I crawled towards the bathroom because I figured, I must be hungover. So there must be vomit following. And...
You're the natural instincts of a cat. They always crawl into the bathtub to die, right? That's where you were going. That's
exactly where I was going. So that passed. Like, I felt terrible on the ground. And, but that sort of went away. But then I realized the roof of my mouth just hurt like ever-living shit. It just hurt so bad. It was like if I swallowed or anything, it was just like the roof of my mouth was just swollen and uncomfortable. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm describing it to everybody there, and Dixon and Dave are both like, oh yeah, that's dehydration. I have that happen sometimes when I drink. And I was like, holy shit. Like, he's like, yeah, it usually takes like a day or something to go away. So I just started pounding water or whatever, and it kind of felt like it went away for a little bit, and then just came roaring
back. Does your body gradually start working a little more effectively as you hydrate, or like?
Well, that fixed itself pretty quickly. Like,
okay. It's like the screen on an old TV, like warming up slowly.
It'll get back into place. Yeah, that didn't last too long, but it was the roof of my mouth thing that ruined the rest of the weekend for me, because I guess everyone else was like, oh, it's just this dehydration thing, and I was like, my mouth fucking hurts.
Drink more, you'll feel better.
Yeah. So, the next day, like, I had like one or two drinks, and because I thought it was feeling better, and then it came back. So I was like, okay, well, I must have dehydrated again. So I just stopped. I stopped drinking alcohol the rest of the weekend. But the next day, I get up, it hurts even worse, and I didn't drink at all, and it hurts to eat hurts everything. It was just awful.
And then you went to the hospital.
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, you eventually went and saw a real medical professional.
I went and saw plenty of medical professionals because apparently.
Oh, did you go there and they were like, "Dude, you're fucked up. We gotta get the specialist."
I went to like a minute clinic because I was like, this fucking sucks. And there's like a nurse practitioner there, and she's like, I have no idea what this is. Like, calls a doctor and consults him. He has no idea what it is. She sends me home with quote unquote magic mouthwash, which is apparently some like antihistamines and some painkillers, like oral painkillers.
Okay.
And she sent me home with a painkiller, and I was like, oh, okay, well maybe that'll help at least. No, it was just more fucking ibuprofen. Like, I don't already have a bottle of ibuprofen.
Horse-sized ibuprofen. Yep.
That pisses me off. But why? Don't even bother giving. I can go to Rite Aid myself. Like,
right.
So I start taking that. I was like, all right, well, I'll just ride it out a little longer. Just keep drinking water, whatever. And it's not getting any better. So the next day I was like, I need to go to the actual doctor. So I try to get an appointment with my doctor. She's unavailable, so I go to the same practice, and I think I'm seeing another doctor. It turns out to be another nurse practitioner. She also does not know what it is. Consults another doctor. That person doesn't know what it is.
At a certain point, are you like, oh my God, I've got something that nobody's ever seen before?
Yeah, what?
This is especially funny to me because like Dixon and Dave were like, oh yeah, bro, happens to me all the time, and now all these doctors are fucking mystified by it. Like, there's a weird disconnect here on your swollen mouth syndrome.
Yeah, that's the best name. Can I get named after me?
Is it Mikey's swollen mouth syndrome?
It's like slightly less impressive as Lou Gehrig's disease.
This is the worst case of MS I've ever seen.
Oh no. That
double MS.
Oh man, you're so bad at you got double MS.
You have MS squared.
Oh, terrible. But so this other doctor sent me home with prednisone, an oral steroid, to supposedly help keep back if it's an allergic reaction. And then she's like, you should probably go see your dentist, because that's where you should start from.
Interesting thought. Okay.
So I was like, all right. And I immediately called my dentist, got an emergency appointment, went straight from that doctor to my dentist.
Wow. That's helpful.
Talked to the dentist, looks in, he's like, I have no idea what that is.
Oh, geez.
You should probably go to an ENT. So then I'm sitting there Googling ENT doctors, and
tell me you finally went to a guy who was like, oh yeah, I know what this is.
Went to the ENT the next day, so I had to suffer through that night, and it was just getting worse. Finally saw him. He's like, I'm really not sure what it is, but I think it's an infected salivary gland. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give you clindamycin for whatever, a week's worth.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't get better, let me know. I was like, oh, Jesus. That's a vote of confidence.
Tap dancing Christ. Medical professionals are the worst sometimes.
And so I went on that, and it's like, it got like 80% better, like really quickly. And then that last 20% has been going for like 3 or 4 days now.
Well, you did start drinking again, so that doesn't help.
Not a lot. That was the first time I drank.
But on Sunday, that kills antibiotics, right? I don't know. Maybe that's a myth that they tell you to make you stop drinking alcohol, which is basically poison. But...
That's probably more to it. Because I read a bunch of stuff. Most antibiotics are not affected by alcohol or minimally affected.
The more you know.
Yeah, and I'm an internet doctor. I know things. Yeah, so I'm like 80% back. It doesn't hurt, but it feels like you ever burn the roof of your mouth, and then that feeling after where it's like like numb.
It's a new roof of your mouth now. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
feel
what-
it. It's not active yet.
I'm growing a new mouth apparently, but that's
How the
essential.
fuck are you afflicted with a condition that 8 doctors can't identify, but Dave and Dixon were both immediately like, "Oh yeah, whatever. You should drink all the time." Like, now I guess it went on for longer than they would have thought, but
I mean, I said if it were like definitively shown that alcohol caused it, I would never drink again. that was how more
That
painful
bad,
it was.
huh?
Yeah, it was like it's that dental type of pain where it's not that it hurts and like so much, it's just that it hurts so long.
And
it's just like it beats you down.
and it's and that dental pain, like dental pain and ear pain,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's like the fact that it's so close to your brain, I think is what kind of fucks you up. Like my toe could hurt a lot, but like it seems like because it's maybe this is nonsense, but since it's so far from my brain, I feel like I can kind of put it out. But like if it's my ear, or my nasal cavity, or my teeth or something, you can't fucking do anything.
Like I'm pretty good with pain, most pain. You know, I wanted to fight for a living. I mean, I'm not too worried about like that kind of pain. I'm a little bitch when it comes to fucking like pain in your fucking face.
One little infected salivary gland, and little baby Mikey can't get anything.
God, it was awful.
I'm of kind of like I have this thought all the time that is really amusing to me. So, like, I get pretty bad hangovers when I overdo it, right? Like if I go out and if I stick to my drink, like I'm pretty good. Like I'm not gonna be crushed the next day. But if I'm drinking hard, I almost never do. Like it starts with my rum and coke, and then it's shots and fucking Fireball and whatever somebody brings me and a beer.
Apologize.
Yeah, it
I've
happens.
probably been there for most of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's okay, and that's what fun times are made of, right? My favorite phrase about alcohol, I want to say it was Ben Franklin, but I could be wrong, is drinking alcohol is simply borrowing happiness from tomorrow. Right, that's my favorite.
So true.
That's my favorite drinking phase. So I know if I'm drinking heavy, like I'm not gonna feel great the next day. But the times in my life where I've been particularly crushed the next day have been, I'll start with some beer and then move to rum and then fucking we do shots later and then it's just a finish the night off with bourbon on the rocks kind of shit.
For whatever reason,
and that's how it always ends up going down. And the next day I'm just
You're like, how did it come to this?
I'm just worthless. I just wake up, my head is throbbing. I can't concentrate. I certainly can't drive because I'm still half drunk, and I throw up, and it's just an awful, at least half day, maybe full day. I always think, like, imagine if I just woke up like that one morning. Head throbbing, I throw up, like I can't go anywhere, do anything. I'm dizzy and painful and everything hurts. I don't want to go to the fucking emergency room. But because I drank the night before, like, it's totally okay.
I did this. That makes it okay.
I did this to myself. Yeah, I'm thinking that will that'll happen. That'll happen here shortly. Several times.
Yeah. Well, that's why the whole fucking inflamed mouth thing was the MSMS was so bad because I didn't get a hangover. As soon as I got over my temporary paralysis.
Well, I would include that in the hangover, although I've never felt temporarily paralyzed.
That's why all the dehydration, although I think dehydration is a huge part of hangovers, which is one reason I think I don't usually get hangovers is because I drink so much water.
Sure.
But who knows? I don't know.
I think there are different types of hangovers that you get for different reasons. And like now that I'm borderline alcoholic, like I think I could start to like tell the difference. Like I have a different hangover.
I'm a hangover connoisseur.
I have a different feeling when I'm like just dehydrated. Like and that hangover is fairly easily solved. I think the hangovers that I get that are really bad are often like sugar related. Like I think when I get sugary drinks in there, like fucking Fireball or whatever other bullshit people bring.
Should we do a shot of Fireball for that? That's
actually a great idea, and I like where your head's at. Yes, we should.
Continue.
But like I feel those are the ones I get that are really bad. I also have on occasion gotten what I think are like nicotine hangovers. Like obviously when you get drunk, like the urge to smoke goes through the roof, and you
wait, so like you like overdid it with cigarettes?
Yeah, you know, because like on a normal day I'm like a half a pack smoker, right? Like 8-10 cigarettes a day, like once an hour, something like that. But like you get out drinking, like I'll roll through a pack in an evening. And I think it just, ruins your brain and your body. So I think there are different reasons for it. That's not science. That's just my...
Science? That is definitely science.
That's just my observation.
That's Facebook science. You could put that...
You're right. I could.
You could absolutely put that on a title from like BuzzFeed or something.
Yeah.
People start sharing that all around.
Yeah.
That's how we should promote the show. Just make up some bullshit science. And just make some shitty, like, fucking Huffington Post type article about it.
And just say, like, Harvard Journal of Medicine says that, and people fucking, it's the fucking Harvard Journal of Medicine. Like, that's real, right?
The doctors of Tyler and Edmondson.
By the way, the show is not the place for this, but now that I'm looking at my calendar, and I'll forget to tell you afterwards, you should take off on the 12th or come out late if you can. It's a Saturday. It's not this Saturday. It's next Saturday.
Gotcha.
We'll talk about that later. There's a reason for that. Let's do the shot, and then we'll talk about the reason for it.
All right. Here we go. So, whatever poor decision this is.
To MSMS.
MSMS.
Freshly coined. That's ours. You can't fucking take that.
You hear us there? Can't get right? Since you stole everything else?
Mikey swollen mouth syndrome. Double MS.
Ugh.
Rickety bone syndrome.
I think I just got diabetes.
Yeah, I know, right? That's gonna make tomorrow worse.
I've a harder time. Like everybody talks about, oh, I can't do whiskey, I can't do tequila, any of that shit. I can't do all that sugary bullshit. Like, fucking, I mean, I can. It doesn't.
I like it at the time.
It's not that it bothers me the way like tequila bothers somebody that doesn't like tequila, but it's just so. I mean, it's like getting punched right in the beatus.
The Fireball, it is. I have a real weakness for it. If I've had a couple of drinks and you're like, let's do some fucking Fireball, woo, let's make it happen. Like, I don't give a shit. But that is definitely responsible for some of the worst headaches I've ever had, or worst hangovers I've ever had.
I believe you.
It is pure poison in that bottle. It might just be formaldehyde and cinnamon.
I mean, they did have those.
Did it change the recipe or recall it or something? Yeah,
it might have been overseas, but
I don't know. But it's definitely pure poison in there.
It makes me wonder though, people when they find out this stuff and they're like, oh, it has like same stuff as like embalming fluid and shit like that. I was like, it is poison. The stuff that you want from it is poison to your body. Like you could probably drink formaldehyde. It would be better for you than like pure formaldehyde.
It's at least pure. It's at least pure poison as opposed to whatever's in that orange fluid in that bottle.
It's organic. All the hippies like it. Free range alcohol.
Oh God! Every time I hear organic, I'm like, so is fucking rattlesnake venom. That's all natural. God. Doesn't mean you should put it in your body.
Someone else said detox today, and I wanted to punch him in the fucking throat.
Detox is one of those. So I don't really know about this. I know I've heard both sides of it. But my general take on it is detox isn't really a thing, right? Like,
correct.
Well,
in the sense that most people use it, which is you are trying to remove toxins from your body.
Yeah. Okay.
That is not a thing. If you're saying detox, like you're just removing bad stuff from your life so that your body runs better, that I could see, but that's never what they mean. it's always like drink cayenne pepper and use this juice cleanse to remove toxins from your body.
Flush poisons.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. That's way up there on my Mikey's hate scale.
But like I could, like, if I decided to, I'm not gonna, for the record, but like if I wanted to, like, you know, cut out alcohol and caffeine and nicotine and that kind of stuff for a few days and kind of quote unquote detox, like that'd be good for me in the long run. Probably suck, but it'd be good for me if you like you could call that detoxing.
That's what I mean. That would be, I guess, technically a detox,
and
but that's
good for my body.
But that's never what these
That's never
idiots
what you're
mean.
talking about.
So if that's what they meant, I'd be like, hell yeah, that's what you do. Like you cut bad shit out of your body, but you don't use pseudo good shit to push bad shit out. You have organs that remove quote unquote toxins.
Yeah, they're really good at it.
You're not slicing up lemons and putting an onion on your foot to suck out toxins. That's not how the world works.
You're right. You've got something for removing toxins. It's called your liver.
Yeah.
If you would stop poisoning it 5 nights a week, you would feel better. Tristan, an hour ago before you started drinking.
Whoops. I'm just slowly trying to kill off my antibiotics. That's just how that works.
Yeah, you just get those out of the way.
I have a friend that's big into the holistic stuff. Like she follows all that stuff. And the big one was I was sick one time at work, and she said, "Oh, you gotta strap onions to your feet and wrap them up, and it pulls the toxins from your blood." And I was like,
no,
don't ever say that to me again. She's like, "I swear it works." I was like, "I'm sure it works in a way." Like you felt better afterwards, but I mean, the mind is a strong thing. If you believe in something enough, it's amazing what your body will do. However, there is nothing about an onion that will pull any sort of toxin or anything else out of your body.
Yeah, no.
It's just going to make your fucking feet stink, and then you're down an onion.
Where do you stand on acupuncture?
I don't believe it, but it's like, I don't know.
I've heard people talk about it who I respect and trust who swear by it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it's legit. It's just one of those things I'm kind of like real borderline on. It's real gray.
That's kind of how I like. I'm not gonna.
Seems like bullshit when you get into the science of it. You know, like
I think a certain part of it is like a lot of other, holistic shit, where there are probably some people that know certain things and it does kind of work, like, just pressure points, and it's sort of like a massage, like, that might help, because I mean the lines that follow on like acupuncture charts follow very similar lines to a lot of parts of the body.
Okay.
So different nerve endings and things like that. So that leads me to believe that there could be a bit of truth. However, I think probably 90% of the people out there doing acupuncture are doing bullshit.
That's a good point.
But I'll leave it open. I'll leave it open to debate on whether it's possible for it to be real.
That's a good point. There could be guys out there who could legit cure cancer with acupuncture, but 95% of them...
Well, no one's curing cancer with it. If you're going to make your muscles feel better, or like maybe reduce some pain, that I could see.
Okay.
No one's curing diseases by poking needles into their body. Unless those needles are filled with medicine.
What about like from a pure placebo effect standpoint? Do you think if somebody believes strongly enough in acupuncture and had cancer and they were like, acupuncture is going to cure my cancer, they believe wholeheartedly about it, do you think maybe the human body could just cure its own cancer? I guess
I think that's actually,
a really broad question, but
I think that's actually very possible, because there's so much we don't know about the body and how it interacts between the brain and the body.
It's kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah. Anything's possible. I'm just saying these things. Well, no, not anything. Onions pulling toxins from your feet. That's not possible.
You're right. Okay.
However, I will say the placebo effect is very strong.
What's the dumbest thing that you believe?
That I believe?
Yeah. Is there a thing that you're like, I'm kind of embarrassed that, like, I don't really think we landed on the moon? Or, like...
I don't know if I have anything. I mean...
Are there any conspiracy theories you buy into? Or, like, maybe psychics, maybe some psychics are real, or maybe John Edwards really talks to dead people.
Oh,
like,
fuck that guy.
I know. Let's not tangent here, though. This is about you. Is there anything that's dumb that you believe?
Generally speaking, I don't believe anything.
That's true.
I go out, like, if somebody says something and it sounds unbelievable, I go out and try to find out as much as I can.
Okay. But there's never been anything that you've come across where you're like, yeah, maybe.
There's a great it's actually a 9-minute beat poem by Tim Minchin.
Okay.
And he it basically encompasses how I feel about, like, conversations on those topics, where he basically speaks about running into somebody that's really into all this holistic medicine and the spirit and all this other stuff. And the best part about it is a part of it where he basically says everything in history that was once magic has been proven one way or the other. Like, either it was science or it was not real. And it's like all this stuff just gets pushed around, and it's like, that's why I don't understand why people believe some of this stuff anymore, because it's either been proven to not work or it hasn't been proven to work. Your best case scenario is that they can't prove that it does work.
Okay.
So
yeah.
And the other part, and I actually the same I had seen this recently, or I saw it right before I went back to school a few years ago, and that was the same time I had to take a biology class that I never took when I went to school before. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy in there that was really into holistic medicine, all this other stuff, who also happened to be the same person that, while we were discussing the vascular system of plants, asked if a plant could have a heart attack. So that gives you an indication of the level of mental capacity that this man had.
Okay. All right.
By the way, when he said that, I stood up, looked at the teacher, and I said, I need to leave right now.
Right.
And I walked out of the room for like 10 minutes, and I came back. But this guy and I got into an argument because he's like, what about Eastern medicine? I was like, Eastern medicine is fucking bullshit. And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I was like, it doesn't work. Like, and all the holistic stuff, you know what they call all that holistic medicine that they've proven to work? Medicine. If it's been proven to work, they're using it. If it's even close to being proven to work, they're testing it. But all this stuff, like, if you're gonna go to a chiropractor and get your bones cracked and it's gonna fix your libido, like, no. If you want to go to a chiropractor because your back is sore, as long as it's a good one, sure, that I can believe.
Right? Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know, all this magical stuff that's going to heal you, and healing hand. What's it? Reiki? I can't remember what it's called. Something like that. They're healing hands. It's like a massage without touching.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about the cups. The cupping.
Cupping's stupid too.
I do want to have a tiny Asian woman walk on my back where she holds a pole, though. That sounds like.
But that would make sense because it's like.
It's just like a back massage.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that sounds cool.
I don't have a problem with massage. I think that works.
I don't know, man. I think all that, like, all that Eastern medicine, like, holistic medicine, like, I think that's all in the mind. Like, I don't think any of it's actually. If you don't believe any of it works, I don't think any of it works. A lot of it doesn't work. But I think if you believe wholeheartedly in almost anything, I think your brain kind of fucking makes it happen, which is maybe the dopiest thing that I believe. Like, I think there's clearly something between, I mean, you said it before, like between the brain and the body that we don't fully understand.
Mhm.
I don't want to say it's magic or anything like that, but there's clearly something there that we don't get, and that, frankly, Western medicine or all medicine doesn't get. I think Western medicine tends to Western medicine has problems. Actual medicine has problems. Over medicating and fucking everybody's on drugs. Like, I'm a fucking hippie when it comes to like childbirth and stuff like that. And, like, I don't judge anybody for what they did or what they didn't do, or fucking I don't want to get in any of that shit. But like, I tend to think in the United States in particular, like, we over dramatize like the whole thing and like over medicate. Like, I think, fucking women have babies in fields all the time. It goes fucking fine. It's like, that's probably the dopiest, like, most, wheatgrass hippie thing that I believe is,
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't have a problem with like midwives and all that stuff.
Yeah.
My only thing is I would worry about doing that in a setting outside of a hospital, because it's like there's so many problems that could go wrong that a midwife can't fix.
See, but that's where I think is, I don't want to say it's a myth, right? But like there are problems that happen. And shit goes bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you want to be in the best setting if stuff goes bad. And it's complicated because your wife and your unborn child are the things you care most about in the world, and you want them to have every fucking advantage. But the truth of the matter is that like a huge percentage, an overwhelming percentage of the babies in the world are born not in a hospital setting.
Mm-hmm.
And an overwhelming majority of the babies in the United States are born in hospital settings, and our fucking infant mortality rates are awful. Are the worst in the developed world. So like, I think we've gone too far the other direction. You know what I mean?
I actually I agree with that, because if given the chance to do it all over again, I would straddle that line a lot more closely.
Sure.
Where, I mean, we had tons of complications because they wanted so badly to. They basically forced us into doing the accelerated labor and all that stuff. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, the body's not ready. I'd love to see, I've never actually looked it up, but I'd love to see the statistics on births where they're given Pitocin or whatever that actually successfully give natural birth.
It's bad. It's not good.
Exactly. I feel like all that does is like it forces you to ram your child's head into a closed door until they're like, well, can't get it out, time to cut it out. And it's like, could we just skip the step where you try to forcefully cram your child's head out of an opening that's not available yet? Mm-hmm. That's the only part that, if you could avoid that, then I think it's better to have the hospital setting afterwards. But I definitely think they push that way too much. And
every time I try to have this conversation, whoever I'm having this conversation with inevitably had a baby, or the wife had a baby, in a hospital setting, painkillers, Pitocin, and they're like, my baby's fine. Fuck you, bro. Like, get your fucking hippie ass out of here. And like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not judging anybody. Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't even care. But so it was interesting. So when Susan had Connor, my oldest, like, we were kind of chewing on that hippie granola a little bit, and so she wanted to go to a midwife, but she didn't want to go full on to like the midwife outside birthing center kind of thing. So we went to a midwife at a hospital, right? It's in a separate wing,
right? So
like, it's kind of chill, but if things go wrong, they just gurney you down the hallway.
See, I like that approach.
It was a great compromise, and it was awesome. But when it came time to have our second, when it came time for Scarlett 3 years later, I was like, so are we gonna go back to the birthing center? And she's like, nah, I think I'm just gonna go get painkillers and fucking just just do it the easy way, like, and so we tried to do that, and man, man, it's I get the two mixed up at this point. But the short version is that she went into labor like super fucking fast, and by the time we were in the operating room, she's like, they're like trying to get their stuff on, and she's like, the baby's coming now, fucking. She's like, I need painkillers, and they're like, nah, it's way too late for that shit. Like that's not happening today. So she had both of them without any painkillers, even though she wanted them for the second one. So she dialed it back on number 2. We've gotten to a weird fucking place.
Yeah, how did we end up
I don't know
here?
how we got here.
God.
This is not what we intended to do tonight.
If only I'd pulled the toxins from my body, this wouldn't have happened.
Instead of adding more.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that.
If I just strap lemons to my feet and drink alcohol, is just the poisons just cycle right through me,
You get
just
those
head to toe?
Fugogi foot pads.
Right. Do I need like absorbent shoes though? Or are they just gonna pull the alcohol straight out through the soles of my feet? And
It's tough. It's tough to say. You'll have to channel your chi.
I'll look it up on a holistic medicine channel on YouTube. So we should talk about something else, show related, which I think we meant to talk about
Probably 20 minutes ago.
Whoops. So, we don't have all of the answers yet. We're working on it, and I think we have a pretty good solution. But the short version is that my loving wife has received a pretty killer promotion at her job that is taking us away from lovely suburban Maryland here to slightly less lovely, but still lovely in a different way, northern central Ohio. So I will be moving away here in about a month. Don't panic. Like I said, we're working on a solution. I think we're coming in on a pretty good one.
Yeah.
We may have a brief hiatus while I like unpack and shit like that, but I think we've got a good kind of plan in between. We may bring some fresh or familiar faces into the mix in the meantime, but we should have a good solid, 4 or 5 weeks here where we're here in our normal Last Call Studios here.
At Last Call Studios, MSMS Studios.
MS Studios, MS Squared Studios. But so that will be coming shortly. We'll keep you up to date on that as things progress forward. But if things get a little rocky in September, sit tight. We're working on it, and or maybe not. Maybe we'll never come back. I don't fucking know.
Pull a guy cast. We'll see you in like 10 years.
Shut the fuck up, this. God damn it.
Too soon.
Oh, I feel so badly about that. Whatever. We returned.
Eventually.
Yeah, half a decade later.
I still think it's awesome how many of those guys have, how many of the former listeners tune in here now.
Still hang out. Yeah. No, we got good fans. We have
every
the
once
best
in a while you
fans.
see the messages coming through Facebook and everything. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're good dudes. We were lucky to have such a strong fan base. So we'll keep you up to date on all of that stuff shortly. Last weekend before, we didn't get a chance to cover this last week because we were on mini swollen mouth vacay, and
that sounds like the worst vacay.
it was the worst vacay. That's Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, the Comic-Con. Happened last weekend. A lot of it came out of it, including several big trailers came out. Did you have a favorite? Do you have a project that you're really excited about that came out of Comic-Con? We saw trailers for Thor Ragnarok. We saw trailers for Justice League. We saw trailers for Kingsman.
It's tough. I mean, I'm a Marvel fanboy. I love seeing any more from that, and I think they're starting to really hit their groove and start telling these big stories, some of which are my favorite in comic history. So I'm super excited about that.
I'm kind of psyched about Thor though, because it looks like it happens outside of that realm, right? Like,
no, that leads into it.
It leads into it, but it looks like most of the story, happens concurrently and like the whole universe isn't really at stake. I mean, it kind of seems like Thor and the Hulk may be at risk, but
Well, I feel it'll probably tie back in because it looks like they're merging a few stories, but I mean, there's a lot. I think pretty much until after the Infinity War movies are out, every there's going to be tie-ins at least.
tie-ins I'm okay with. I don't need every movie to be about the fate of the whole goddamn world. You know what I mean?
True.
Or about the whole universe, or like everything to be about everyone. You know what I mean? Like the crossover is fun.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, that's kind of why I'm excited a little bit about Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like, you know, Iron Man's kind of there, but it's not really.
That looks really good.
That looks like a lot of fun. But like Civil War was great, but it was really heavy.
I don't know if they'll go back to that sort of feeling again. That sort of tone.
I think Infinity War is probably going to be pretty deep. They won't go back to that same tone because Captain America is inherently political, right? I mean, that was technically a Captain America film, right?
Yeah.
So Captain America is always kind of political and judgy. But I don't know. I'm psyched about something that looks a little lighthearted. Looks like it's fun.
Getting back to what made Marvel movies popular.
Yeah. Early Iron Man, you know, even for me, like it's not my favorite, but like Ant-Man, like Ant-Man wasn't great, but it was just fun. Like it's okay for a movie to just be fun.
That wasn't like I wasn't a super comic nerd. My brother was really into comics, so I got all his hand-me-downs, and that's how I got. He had all the Infinity War stuff, so that's why that's one of my favorite of all time. Because like, that was the hand-me-down comics from my brother that I loved. I used to draw the images from them and all that stuff. So it's like that's like my childhood was that shit.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that, but also I wasn't a DC guy, but the Justice League stuff. I mean, it's starting to look pretty decent.
Looking like they're finally hitting their stride. Wonder Woman's coming out strong. We're going to get a cast of characters together here.
I still haven't seen Wonder Woman, but
I tried while we were in Ohio, and we just couldn't quite make it work. We tried a couple of times. Yeah, I really want to see Wonder Woman.
I want to see that in Spider-Man. I'm still behind on that.
But Justice League looks fun. Tonally seems a little like maybe they can't. Aquaman seems a little
broody.
I don't know, like he's broody, but he's also the weird comic relief all the time. Like I don't know, maybe they're going off of what fucking big blue guy in Guardians. You know what I mean? Like dark with a dark past, but also comic relief kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're going for.
I think they're probably just playing off the fact that he's one of the only guys with charisma.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they all have their moments, but I mean, Jason Momoa's got some personality to him. I think they're trying to play off of that some.
And I love their take on the Flash. What's his name? Ezra Miller. Like, I love that take. Young kid, super powerful, but maybe kind of a coward. That's a cool angle to take. I like it.
I was initially upset that they didn't drag in the shows, but it makes more sense. You got to set them separate because it's a different tone.
Yes, very much so. I love the actor who plays the Flash on the CW, but yeah, you can't just drop him in there. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, can you imagine if Ben Affleck's Batman showed up on the CW? Like, how out of place that would feel.
There were some announcements that Ben Affleck has signed on for a bunch more Batman movies.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Apparently including Batman Beyond, which could be interesting, but I don't know how that all works. I don't know. I like Batfleck, and it's not just because ever since that was announced that he was going to be Batman, now everyone has to notice that, like, you look kind of like Ben Affleck. I'm like, okay, thanks, I guess.
I'm not sure I'd thought about that one.
That's the most common one I get.
Okay, I get that.
I've had some weird ones. I can't even think.
When I was younger, before I was fat, I used to get Tobey Maguire all the time.
What?
Yeah, all the time. When I was waiting tables, like this is post Spider-Man, like during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man years, everybody would be like, anybody ever tell you look like Tobey Maguire? I'm like, yeah, all the time, but it's wrong.
I don't. I gotta like pull that up. Like that. That doesn't sound
No,
right
it
at
never
all.
made any sense to me, but it happened once a month, waiting tables, all the time. I don't know why.
I ran the full gamut of like celebrity lookalikes. When I was like super skinny in high school, it was Brandon Boyd from Incubus.
Okay.
And then when I was fight training and I had my head shaved, everybody's like, "You look like GSP." I was like,
Okay, that I get that one. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good one. You're taller than GSP by a significant margin, aren't you?
yeah, by a lot. I'm a lot bigger, but no.
But I
mean,
get that. I definitely
sense.
get that one.
No, facial structure, I could see that. It really all comes down to the high cheekbones.
Yes.
Anybody that kind of has high cheekbones and a fairly strong jaw, they're like, you look just like that. And the guy from like that show in the '90s, Wings, and he played Sandman. What the fuck's this? Thomas Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church. Yeah.
He's like an old haggard me.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of THC. He's good on me.
Who the fuck else? A couple other random ones over the years, but it's like those. Ben Affleck has been the big one.
Dude, I'm fucking psyched about The Accountant too. You can bring that to me whenever they're ready. I'm on board. He could just make Batman and Accountant movies for the rest of his career, and I'm fucking on board.
I'd be all right with that. It suits his style. Like,
just alternate.
I don't like when he tries too hard to like. When he gets in like a big acting role, he tries too hard, I think.
I'm not a good judge of these things, but I thought he did a great job in The Town, which was a big acting role, I think, for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was an action role, and he got to play kind of a hard ass, but it was kind of like, I don't want to say hard ass with a heart of gold, but like, you know.
I mean, he was great in Mallrats.
He was great in Mallrats. I'll give him credit. I mean, Chasing Amy is one of my all-time.
I don't know
favorites.
if I've ever actually seen Chasing Amy.
I don't think it probably holds up it's very 90s. It probably doesn't hold up very well, but it is one of my favorites. And I haven't seen it in many years now, but I mean, it's one of my favorites from like, again, a specific time in my life, and like it spoke to me in a big way back then. I mean, a lot of the Kevin Smith stuff did back then.
I hate Kevin Smith because of who he is as a person, but I like a lot of the movie, like especially like fucking Dogma.
Yeah, Dogma's.
I love Dogma.
Dogma's killer. Dogma's killer.
And like Mallrats and Clerks, they have a special spot in my very black and cold heart.
Clerks is that's your movie. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put it to like Rundown level movie. But
Who would? Can't make that comparison. Have you seen Tusk?
no, what's that? Is that
That's okay.
Kevin
So that's
Smith?
Kevin Smith. It's a late Kevin Smith. So Kevin Smith makes the he has a name for it. The series of movies that he makes that occur in New Jersey, the Jersey Chronicles or something like that.
Oh,
That's
really?
Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy. It's all that stuff. Same characters, same area of the world. Like there's a continuity there. But he's made other movies outside of that, right? So this is maybe 5 years ago now. He made a movie called Tusk.
I have no idea.
You have to watch it. I don't want to spoil anything. It's just watch it.
Do you want his autobiography?
You own his autobiography?
I got it in the nerd block.
I've never actually read his autobiography. I feel like I know his I'd listened to his podcast for a long time, Smodcast. I hit my limit with it. It was a lot of fun for a long time, but he smokes a lot of weed now, and
Drags on a bit.
I feel like I learned everything I could learn from him.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard everything he had to say.
Which is nothing. So you're getting into the film game.
Would you rather time? I think we're approaching would you rather time.
We probably are, but it's
Yeah, let's do that.
fuck it. Jump right in.
Let's go.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fucking Bill O'Reilly. Would you rather be surrounded by dozens of sharks or whatever the other one is? Whatever the other one is. I don't give a shit.
Probably.
Have only one shark nearby with no risk of more arriving, but while you are bleeding. Kill myself. Just fucking saw my own head off. I'm going to
take the one.
Pull the mask, drown. I don't give a shit.
I just don't want to get torn apart by shark.
Just one shark, just grabbing chunks of your thigh and shit.
I mean, one shark. All right, he's gonna severely injure me, but I'm gonna rip that motherfucker's eyes out, and he'll probably leave. I mean, they say sharks don't like the taste of humans or whatever, and it's always like an accident. So I figure one accidental shark bite. And then I
depends on the size of the shark.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm surviving either. Necessarily. Okay. But I feel like my chances are greater if it's one, even if I'm bleeding.
Because maybe you can like grab his lungs and like.
I mean, if you're in a swarm of sharks, they're there for a reason. It's not like packs or schools of fucking sharks. They don't just like roam together.
Yeah, I feel like that's the better play though. If you're bleeding, even one shark, even like a medium-sized shark, if you're bleeding, that's not gonna go well. Like, he rips a chunk out of your leg or your arm or something. You're just gonna fucking bleed to death underwater. Or he's going to take a bite. I mean, what if it's a hungry shark? What if he's starving? He doesn't care if he doesn't like the taste of you.
He's like, ugh.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more bites.
I read a book once. It was one of these.
One time I read a book.
It was one of these stupid guilty pleasure books, but I'm pretty psyched because there's a movie coming up. It's called Meg, and it's about. I think there are people that really believe this theory. It's about, the megalodon shark that used to exist a long time ago.
They think it still exists?
Yeah, they think it still exists, like way down at like the bottom of the ocean. Like there's this warm layer at the bottom, like the Marianas Trench, right?
That makes sense.
Because of the it's closer to the Earth's core, so there's like lava vents stuff down there. So there is like a warm pocket at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Not that I think megalodons live down there, just so we're clear. This is not a thing that exists, but that's the theory. And the book is about one of these sharks that like escapes this warm pocket and starts, eating submarines and shit like that. And the book centers around this mini sub pilot who was disgraced years ago because he saw the megalodon and kind of panicked and crashed his sub, and nobody believes that the megalodon was real, but now it's back. So now they're making a movie, and that pilot is being played by. Go ahead. Who's your guess?
Please tell me it's Randy Quaid.
That would be the best.
I just want to be I'm back.
He's doing a sequel, like Jason Statham. Yeah, no, I'm fully on board.
No,
fully on board.
I hate when they put Jason Statham in movies where he can't be a fucking ninja badass. Did you see that shitty U-Bowl movie where it was Return of the King? It was like.
No, I didn't.
It was like a movie based on a tower defense game.
No, I haven't.
So it was just like a generic medieval straight-to-video type shit.
Dungeons and Dragons, the movie kind of thing. Yeah.
But it had Jason Statham for some reason.
Yeah, I know. That seems
really bad.
Like a bad call.
But
you know what is one of my favorite Jason Statham movies? The Mechanic. Love that a lot.
Shit, which I know I've seen. That's on Netflix, isn't it?
I don't know if it's on Netflix at the moment. It's him and Ben something. He's like a master assassin, and his boss gets killed, and he trains his boss's son to also be an assassin. Great assassin flick. So it's very good.
Every Jason Statham movie.
This one is clearly like a level above the rest of them. I mean, I love me some Transporter. Transporter's fantastic. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
I even like Blitz and what else was there?
Not Blitz. You're talking about
no, and Crank.
Crank. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's another one where it's more of a generic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, I love me some Jason Statham. He's the best.
He's like second place to The Rock for me. I'll still watch every one of his movies.
See, I'll watch an action movie with Jason Statham over one with The Rock, just because he's so talented from a martial arts perspective.
Yeah.
No disrespect to The Rock, I like him a lot, but like watching Jason Statham work with a good director is really fun.
Yeah.
Would you rather have your nose grow 1/4 inch a year or your ears grow 1/2 inch a year?
What?
Fuck, I can put a bullet in my brain. After a decade, both of those are fucking goddamn ridiculous. Now your nose, a decade, 10 years from now, I'm 45. My nose is fucking 2.5 inches from my face. More. Or your ears are 5 inches from the side of your head. That's a ridiculous question, and I refuse to answer it.
Yeah, fuck this question. I don't know. I'll just say the lesser one. What was it? The nose, I guess.
How bad is it if I cut the tip of my nose off? Is that bad? Can I like cut it and then like sandpaper it into form? Is that a thing that I can do?
Sure. Fuck that question.
Would you rather drink a glass of someone else's spit or drink a glass of someone else's sweat?
Wow. It's like actually really tough. I don't know. Those are both really gross.
Dude, yeah, they're both fucking awful. I'd go spit. I feel like spit's probably more neutral, where sweat's going to be really salty, right?
Oh, yeah.
I might have a harder time putting that down.
Ugh.
I'm going to go spit.
But think about, like, you ever had a mouthful of spit that has that weird sort of like texture? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I can't make a solid argument either way.
Really? See, I think
I'd probably still go spit.
Spit's so neutral, I feel like. I don't know. What did the
gross ones are always the hardest.
What did the person eat before they, spit into this cup? Is it like over a couple of days? Is it like what? What's their diet like? Are they a smoker?
Have they removed the toxins from their body?
Have they kept their onions in the bottom of their shoes?
Mm-hmm. It's tough.
I'm gonna go spit. Maybe somebody who drinks a lot of water, works out a lot, their sweat's pretty neutral too. But yeah. I don't know.
Fuck it, I'll go sweat just to
change it up,
mix it up. Fuck it, why not?
Would you rather fish with your hands in a large pond until you catch something, or untangle a golf ball sized knot of thread? These fucking random questions are always super weird. No, I'll fish with my hands. Fuck untying a huge knot. That sounds awful.
I'll do the knot.
Really?
Yeah.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It does sound like a nightmare, but there's a finite end to it. There's no guarantee you'll ever fucking catch a fish with your hands.
That's true. I guess it depends on the pond and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like I could do that. I feel like I could grab a fish. With ample opportunity, I feel like I could grab a fish with my hands. How hard can it be?
Untangling a golf ball sized knot is gonna suck. But I guarantee you it can be done. That's the thing.
Of thread.
Of what? Thread?
Thread. Yeah, right? Yeah, now we're in nightmare territory for me. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely a nightmare. But
you get a magnifying glass and tweezers? Fuck that. It'd get even harder when it's really tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine like just tying a knot 4 or 5 times on a ball of thread and then trying to undo that? Nope. I'll catch that goddamn fish with my hands every time.
I feel like there's only so many times you can
I don't care if I die in that pond. What's that?
Yeah, I'll stick with the thread.
You're a madman.
I mean, we knew that.
God, always over there.
Where'd the other pile? Oh, there's one over here.
There's one over there, but there's 4 of them over here.
I think
They always go that way.
There's a couple under the desk, I think.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do? We'll get that when we do the studio remodel.
That's the next step in the evolution of Last Call podcast, I guess.
Maybe. Soon.
If I ever get around to...
Our black sand's not gone. What do we do now?
Panic.
I mean, I know we've gone over an hour, right?
Have we?
No,
we haven't. Have we? No, we haven't. We're pretty much exactly at an hour.
Exactly at an hour. I mean, I feel like there's not more than a few minutes left in there. I don't what I mean. I don't know what we do now.
It's like, please, somebody, call it. I'm hyperventilating.
The anxiety's really cranking up here. I don't know. I still have plenty to drink. Let's just stare at the camera and drink for 2 minutes.
Can we just? I'll leave the recording like that. Should we just upload that? The audio is just like another 15 minutes of silence, and then the music drops.
I was just thinking, just layer on like "Girl from Ipanema" in the background, like.
It's like, please hold.
Remember when I used to sing songs in the air, and Sean used to get really worried that we did a YouTube strike for it?
I forgot about that.
What song was it? I tried to sing a song several weeks in a row. I want to say it was Sheryl Crow, but I don't remember.
Oh, Torn?
No. Yeah, it was Natalie Imbruglia. Yeah.
That's what it was. And then, no, but the other time was we were commenting over his gameplay of, Uncharted 4?
Yeah.
And I ended up getting him an actual strike.
Yeah, because you played R. Kelly over your phone into a microphone.
Little bump and grind.
My mind's telling me no.
God.
But my body. I hope we get a YouTube strike for that so bad. My body's telling me yeah.
We are not.
I will quit podcasting forever if we get a YouTube strike.
It's like they clearly sourced the material there.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Just R. Kelly.
Less fun for our audio listeners. There's like a 1/4 inch of black sand. Just fucking go away.
Well, I know we started kind of late.
If we shake it, will it help?
I don't know how that works. I think we should probably do a shot of Fireball. Then.
Yes. I like where your head's at.
Because
what's tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah. Okay.
We've been sitting on it. It was either that or that mystery green liquor that we have in that jar.
Oh, we have to do that.
Or that
let's get Dixon in here.
He won't drink that.
No?
No.
We will if we peer pressure him into it.
That's true. Maybe we could probably make that happen.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's just have another jar of just like green Kool-Aid and just pour that for him.
Oh, why is it gotta be Kool-Aid?
Oh, you're right. That's racist. Is that racist? What I just said now? I think it is.
Probably. Everything's racist these days. But
that was delicious.
Ugh, it was not.
Making bad decisions.
Lowered expectations.
God, that was great. Old school Mad TV had some goddamn gems in it.
I think that's the what people forget about SNL versus Mad TV. Mad TV had a ton of really great stuff, but it wasn't as consistent.
Yep.
So it's like you had 1 or 2 skits that were fucking golden every episode, whereas like SNL was like pretty solid across the board, but nothing that
never great.
Yeah, nothing blew you out of the water.
Black Sand's gone. YouTube.com/Mikey T versus Last Call Podcast. Check us out. We'll see you back here next week. Bye.
See y'all later.